Hi, today in this video you will learn relational data model in DBMS. So let's get started. First we start with introduction. Relational model is the most widely used model, and in this model the data is maintained in the form of two-dimensional table. All the information is stored in the form of row and columns. So the basic structure of relational model is table. So here you can see we store the student information in the form of table, student roll number, student name, student department, and department number. So here each row in a table is called tuple. A row contains all information about the instance of the object. So here you can see the first row contains the information of student A. His roll number is 1. His department is ABC and his department number is 2. And here these attributes, roll number, name, department, and department numbers are attributes which define the table or relation. The value of the attribute should be from the same domain. So this is relational model. In relational model, all information are stored in the form of row and columns. So here roll number, name, department, and department number is attribute. First row represents information about the student A, his roll number, his department, and his department number. Now we discuss relational model concepts in DBMS. First is attribute. So each column in a table is attribute. As I discussed earlier, here student roll number, student name, student department, and department numbers are the attribute which define the property of a relation, or you can say a table. So attribute is each column in a table. Now next is tables. In a relational model, the table is called relation, and in the relational model, the relations are saved in the table format. It is stored along with its entities. A table has two properties, row and column. Row represents records and column represents attribute. Here you can see in this table, row represents the records and the column represents the attribute. So here in relational model, we represent everything in form of table. Now next is tuple. As I said earlier, tuple is nothing but a single row of a table which contain a single record. Here, a single row is a tuple which contain the record. So here you can see a row 1 represents information of a student A, his roll number, his department, and the department number. So tuple is nothing but a single row of a table. Now next is relational schema. Relational schema represents the name of the relation with its attribute. So here you can see in this table represents the student information. So student and its attribute, student name, student roll number, student department, and department number are its attribute. Now next is degree. Total number of attributes which in the relation is called the degree of a relation. So here you can see in this table total number of attributes 4. So degree of this relation is 4. Now next is cardinality. Total number of row present in the table is called cardinality. Here you can see in this table there are 3 rows. So the cardinality of this table is 3. Now the column. The column represents a set of value for a specific attribute. Now next is relation instance. Relation instance is a finite set of tuple, and relation instance never have duplicate tuples. Now next is relation key. Every row has 1 and 2 or multiple attribute which is called relation key. Now next is attribute domain. Every attribute has a predefined value and scope is known as attribute domain. Now next is relation integrity constraint. So this is mainly defined in 3 categories: domain constraint, key constraint, and referential integrity constraint. So referential integrity constraint in DBMS are referred to the condition that must be present for a valid relation. So there are mainly 3 categories: domain constraint, key constraint, and referential integrity constraint. So let's explain one by one. First is domain constraint.
Domain constraint can be valid
if an attribute value is not appearing in the corresponding domain or it is not of the appropriate data type. So this is an attribute level constraint, and attribute can only take values which lies inside the domain range. For example, if a constraint age is greater than 0 is applied on student relation, inserting a negative value of an age will result in failure. So in a table, if there is a column age, so you can apply the value greater than 0. Inserting a negative value of an age that not appropriate, it violates the rules of the domain constraint. Now next is key constraint. So an attribute that can uniquely identify a tuple in a relation is called a key of the table. Here you can see in this table student roll number. This is our key in this relation which uniquely identify a tuple in a relation. So the value of the attribute for a different tuple in relation has to be unique. So the key constraint is violate if it has any duplicate value. So the key in a relation must be unique. Now next is referential integrity constraint. When attribute of a relation can only take value from other attribute of the same relation or any other relation is called referential integrity. So here you can see in this table, we have two tables. One represents student name, his roll number and department number, and another table is department table, which represents department number and department name. Referential integrity is violate when these two tables have a different department numbers. Advantage of relational database model, its simplicity. A relational data model in DBMS is simpler than the other models and easy to use. It's very easy to use because it represents everything in the form of row and column, which is quite natural and simple to understand. Data independence. The structure of relation database can be changed without having to change any application. Scalable. Regarding a number of row and columns, the number of fields a database should be enlarged to enhance its usability. Thank you for watching my video. If you like my video, don't forget to subscribe and you can comment us your queries.